There's one thing in SQL that quietly breaks dashboards, ruins reports, and has every data analyst questioning all of their life choices. Null values. You don't always see them, you don't always think about them, but trust me, they're there. Lurking behind the scenes in the shadows, in your joins, in your aggregate functions, even in your calculations and KPIs. That's why, in this video, we're gonna fix things once and for all. Here's what we're gonna cover: what null values actually are and why they're not the same thing as a zero, how to identify nulls in your dataset, how to filter your dataset for nulls, and finally, how to replace null values by imputing other values with COALESCE and IFNULL. By the end, you'll be able to find and fix nulls instantly, and you're never gonna get another email again that says, "Why did these numbers not match up?" Well, that's probably not true because we all know how stakeholders are. Anyways, let's go. So first things first, what actually is a null value? Is a null value zero? A null value is not zero, it's literally a missing or unknown value. In the database, you can tell that it's a null value because it'll say null in light colored letters usually in the cell. So why do null values exist in business? A lot of times it could be due to some data quality issue or some mistake. Sometimes values shouldn't be missing and there should be something there. And in that case, you have to figure out why those values are missing, and sometimes it can be to a faulty data connection or something more upstream in your data pipeline, not inputting the data correctly. But a really common misconception is that null values are bad and completely undesired, which isn't always true either, because sometimes null values do make sense in that business context and there's nothing you can do about them. So it doesn't always mean that there's an issue or a mistake in the database. It might just mean that there's literally nothing to put there and it's just a placeholder. And that's why there's a lot of trade-offs when it comes to handling null values, because sometimes you just leave them as is if it makes sense in that business context, and other times you have to go back and fix issues, figure out how to fill them, or do something with them. And that's why it's good to know how to replace null values and how to clean them up, because sometimes when you give a report or a dashboard to non-technical stakeholders, you don't want to give them a bunch of missing null values because they're not going to know how to interpret those. They might have further questions about them, and it might just save you a lot of time and effort if you can fill those in with something that they can understand, which is what we're going to do today. This data set is my customers data set, and it's called Messy Customers Clean because in my last video, I did a whole data cleaning thing and I started out with a really messy data set and then I cleaned it up and did a bunch of data cleaning. So that's what this result is. But if you missed that video, don't worry, you'll be able to follow along in this video just fine. I just wanted to explain why I had such a weird table name here. Let's first learn how to identify null values in a data set. In this table, we can see that we have a lot of nulls in our first name column and in our last name column. So I think that's a really good place to start. Let's first start out by pulling in our first name and our last name. And I'm gonna actually copy and paste because I'm lazy. If we add is null after the column names like this, it's actually gonna flag whether or not the values are null. So we can see in row 1, the first name and the last name are both not null. So the is null columns are gonna be false for the first name and last name both. But for example, if we go down to row 9, we have a non-null first name. We have a value there, it's Jess. What a great name, am I right? But the last name is null. So in the first name is null column, it's gonna be false. And in the last name is null column, it's gonna be true. One more example in row 15, we have a null first name, so it'll be true in the first name is null column, but we have a non-null last name, so it'll be false in the last name is null column. So is null is a really great tool that you can use in SQL to flag null values with true and falses. And it comes in handy even more when it comes to filtering data in the where clause. By the way, if you're brand new to SQL and you wanna start together at absolute step 1 and learn all the very basics, I have my free intro to SQL course below. The link is in the description. You'll build your first data analytics mini project in only 30 minutes, even if you've never coded before. And of course, if you're looking for something a little more intermediate because you already have basic SQL knowledge, head on over to my intermediate course, description below. We'll build 2 full portfolio projects together and I'll help you build your portfolio so you're ready to hit that job search. So now I added where first name is null in the where clause, and now it's gonna filter for only the rows with a null first name. So if I keep scrolling down, all the first names are going to be null. And notice that this condition only covers the first name. So the last name, some of them might be null, some of them might not be null, but we only filtered for the first name is null in the where clause. And we can also test it out for where last name is null too. So this time we have some nulls in the first name, some non-nulls in the first names, but all the last names are going to be null in the output. So I wonder if we can combine these conditions. Let's try it. Let's use our Boolean operator or, and let's say where first name is null or last name is null. So that means one or the other. Either the first name is null or the last name is null. It could be both, but only one has to be null to satisfy the whole condition. So now running this, we can see that every row has either the first name null or the last name null. But also on row 11, we can see that both can be null as well. Only one has to be null to satisfy this where condition. We can also use a different Boolean operator here and replace the or with and. So now we can see that every single row for the first name and last name in the output, we have nulls all the way down for both. And because we still have our first name is null and last name is null columns, these are all true all the way down because literally everything is null here. Last thing I'm going to point out with is null before we move on to even more exciting things, yes, stay tuned, is that you can actually negate these conditions by adding not after is. So we can say is not null. I'm actually going to update both sides of the condition. So after I run this, we're going to have where first name is not null and where last name is not null. So that's going to be the most complete data set because we're not going to have any missing data or unknown data between the first name and last name columns. So here we're not going to have any null values. We're only going to pull the rows that have complete first name and last names. Okay, now I'm going to erase this and show you something a little more advanced. I'm going to show you how we can use is null and combine it with case statements and aggregate functions to get counts of all the null values in each column. This is a little more advanced, so if you're newer, just sit back and relax. Don't get too stressed about it, but this is one of the most powerful things that you can do in SQL, especially at scale in your queries. Okay, here's our original data set again. Now we're gonna start with a case statement that classifies the first name column as null or not. Okay, so I said case when first name is null, then 1, else 0. So this is creating a binary column. So for every first name row with a null value, it's going to be flagged with the number 1 in the output. If it's not null, meaning if it has a value, then it's going to have a 0 in the output. So that's going to result in this column over here where we have 1s for all the null values and 0s for all the non-null values. So it's binary, 1s and 0s all the way down. A cool thing we can do is we can actually wrap this in an aggregate function. So we're going to use sum and run it. And now it's going to go through and count up all the ones in that column and give us a total count of all the null values in our data set. So what we did on a technical level is we started out with our first name column, and then we created a binary column using case statements and is null to classify all of the null values as 1s and all the non-null values as 0. And then we summed that column to sum up all the 1s and add up and count all of the null values in the first name column. So this is really cool, isn't it? We just added up all of the null values in our first name column in our data set. So we have 97 null first names. Using this combination of case statements and aggregate functions is a really good way to summarize data. And we can also repeat this logic for last name and email as well. And now we can actually compare between columns and pull deeper insights. So it looks like a lot of people are leaving their last names null and most people are putting in their emails. There's a lot of really other cool things you can do with case statements and aggregate functions in SQL, but we're going to move on and keep focusing on null values. So far, we've learned how to identify and count null values, but what the heck are you supposed to do with them when you find them? Sometimes, depending on the business context, it makes sense to replace them with something else and fill in all of those null values. The easiest and most simple way to do it is with the IFNULL function. The IFNULL function takes 2 arguments. The first argument is going to be the thing that you look at to see if it's null. The second is going to be what you're going to use to replace the null value if it is null. For example, we can put the first name column as the first argument, and then if the first name is null, we're going to replace it with the unknown string. Notice we have single quotes around unknown because it's a string value. And let's call this first name fill because we're filling in all the null values. Now let's look at some examples. We can tell that all the non-null first names are completely unchanged. They look the same in the first name fill column, which is good. But then once we get to a null value, we can see that in the first name fill column, it replaced that null value with unknown. And why would you want to do this? The first thing that comes to mind for me is working with non-technical stakeholders. Maybe I'm handing this over to a non-technical salesperson and they're doing outreach or some sort of emailing. They might be like, hey, you forgot this first name. How am I supposed to add it to the email? What does this mean? Where's the first name? So I think filling in with unknown or something like that that's very stakeholder friendly kind of tells them what's the deal with it. And I know what you're wondering, Jess, if null works with string data, but does it also work with numeric data? And the answer is yes, of course it does. And I'll be honest, this data set does not have a good example of this. I don't have a column that has a good numeric data type. So I actually just made an artificial one right right here. I used a case statement, said when first name is Jess, then the income is gonna be $100,000. And for everybody else, no, zero, nothing. Well, not zero, actually, I misspoke. It's just gonna be null. Because remember, nulls are not the same as zero. So I'm basically just making this fake income column real quick in my query so I can show you how to fill in the null values for it. And we can see every time the first name is Jess, the income is $100,000, and for everybody else, it's just null. There's nothing there. Let's fill these in with zeros. And of course, in the real world, we would need more context as to whether or not their income was zero or just unknown, because if it's just unknown, we don't want to put zero in for their income because that has a different meaning. But just for the sake of this practice problem, let's just fill it in with zero so I can show you. I used our IFNULL function. I put in the income column or alias here, and then I put in zero as the fill value. So now we can see for all the null incomes, they've all been replaced with zeros. And before I let you go to enjoy the rest of your day, I have to show you my favorite data cleaning function in SQL, and that is coalesce. Which, by the way, I can still barely spell. I have to look it up every time. Coalesce works the same way as IFNULL. It just has a slight difference. So real quick, I just replaced IFNULL with coalesce for both of these functions, for the string column first name and for the numeric column income. And notice that coalesce gives us the exact same result. Coalesce operates the same way. So if the first thing you put in is null, it's gonna go to the second value, which is like the default value or the fill value, whatever you're replacing the nulls with. It's also doing the same thing in the income fill column. If income is null, it's going to replace those null values as zeros. So it works just like IFNULL so far. But the difference is that coalesce is not restricted to only 2 arguments. You can put in as many arguments as you want in coalesce. I mean, I think technically infinite, but I've honestly never tried more than a handful. So if you want to try infinite or like a million, let me know. But it's really great because sometimes you can have multiple columns that you want to kind of rely on to fill in your data, or you can also create different calculations that you can fill in null values with instead. And it provides you a little bit more of a safety net and like backup choices and waterfall logic to fill in those null values, because coalesce is going to return the first non-null value in the list. So for example, in our first name fill column, what if we add in last name right here? So it's first going to look at the first name. If that's not null, it's going to use the first name, because remember, coalesce is going to return the first non-null item in the list. If it is null, it's going to go to the next item, last name, and it's going to see if the last name is null. If it's not null, then it's going to take that last name value and fill in the null value. But if that's null too, then it's going to go to the last value, which is unknown. That's kind of like your default value if all the rest are null. And of course, in the real world, you probably wouldn't want to use last name to fill in null first name values, but just go with it for this example. A real world example where I've used coalesce is when I had user IDs from the product, the system of the company I was working at. And then we also had anonymous user IDs that we couldn't completely track. They were like completely anonymous users, and they were being tracked by like this marketing website tool thing. So we first relied on the actual user ID because that user ID was the most reliable. It was like an internal field in the company database. We could track everything in the product. We knew who that user was. They were registered and they were in the system. So that was the most reliable ID. But if for some reason that was null, then we would rely on the anonymous ID that we couldn't track as closely. It was kind of like this second best option, the next best guess. It wasn't perfect all the time, but it was better than nothing. So coalesce can be really good when you're trying to replace null values and you have the first option that's the best and maybe a second option that's not as good but better than nothing. And then you can also add like a default value or multiple layers of waterfall logic. So now you know how to find and fix null values and why IFNULL and coalesce are absolute lifesavers. Understanding null values on a deeper level makes the difference between a data analyst who kind of understands data and a really good data analyst. If you've ever gotten the question, why do these numbers not match up from a stakeholder? It could be because hidden null values. Next up, we're gonna dive into some more fun SQL skills, so don't stop here. And don't forget, I have my free Intro to SQL course in the description. You can build your first mini project in only 30 minutes with no prior experience. I can't wait to see you there. Don't forget to subscribe, sending you lots of big data energy. Bye.